huh, boy? Say you need a little space, yeah, boy. Is it 'cause you can't be faithful, boy? Hope she's cool, unlike you. You ain't ready for a girlfriend, no. 'Cause you think I'll steal your weekends, no. So you make up shitty reasons for, want it out. See, I'm not even mad, boy, but I'm confused. Shouldn't you be keeping me at 10 when you're 2? I can't help but feel sympathetic, I do. You think you're bad, boy, but I feel bad for you. Think you're bad, boy, think you're bad, boy, think you're bad, but I feel bad for you. I'm not even mad, I'm not even mad, I'm not mad, I just feel bad for you. I was pretty when I met ya, now I'm prettier than ever, took a second to forget you.
The following program is rated MALSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, does it really matter who is sitting here? I think the important part is who is actually sitting over there. Anyways, how are you? Today is Friday, January the 28th of 2022. Well, you would imagine what day it is of the year. I don't think I have to tell you that next part. But there's only 337 days left to go before we see the ender here, to this one, the 2022 aspect of everything. Man, I sound weird this morning, but I guess that's no different than any other day. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, just in case if the background did not give the dead giveaway of where the hell we are at. And we are coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM and hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we do stuff at.
Radio Big.
Oh yeah, so hanging out with our friends at RadioBig.fm. I have to tell you, it looks much darker when I wear the darker colors. I guess I've been brightening it up the days the last few, and now all of a sudden it's went dark and gothic once again. So there you go, some stuff going on as always. So let's start talking right away. As you are aware, it's Freeform Friday, so what does that mean to you? That means we go where you direct and we direct where you go, or what? Yeah, something along those lines. So you say it, we do it, and then we kind of go from there. So as we hang out, let's start talking about what is going on according to the trending list. So let's go from there. Yesterday was International Holocaust Remembrance Day, the date that honors Jewish victims of the Holocaust and millions of others who were persecuted. Those tweeting about it added Holocaust Remembrance Day to their post. Hashtag Spotify deleted was trending as news circuits circulated the information yesterday that the music platform removed Neil Young after he gave the ultimatum of his music or Joe Rogan's podcast. I mean, I kind of wonder about that one. I mean, I don't understand on what people thought the outcome was going to be. I think we're probably about 40 years or so, probably outside of when that probably would have been a thing. But then again, 40 years ago, nobody really knew what the hell a podcast was because they didn't exist. Ask Adam Curry, just in case you're not aware. Okay, so let's talk about it. NFL fans shared their reaction to Steelers quarterback Roethlisberger. Roethlisberger officially announcing his retirement yesterday. So that was a big thing. If you're a Steelers fan, I guess that was a big deal for you. And then yesterday, the nominees for the iHeartRadio Music Awards were announced. So there you go. Some people are very excited about the things that are going on there. I don't know. I don't know if you should ever get excited about awards. I don't know. I've been so jaded as of late, and I'm just going to be honest here, of how awards work and just the stuff the rigmarole that you have to go through just to get some of it done. Without being too much of a jerk, it just seems like it's a pay for play with a good chunk of them. I mean, unless... I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know if you can say, well, unless somebody else nominates you, but that's kind of bullshit too. So I don't even know if I really want to go down that. Anyways, before I get onto that tirade, because that'll be an easy one for me this morning, because I will tell you, I have been up roughly, what time did I get in here today? I think I was in here at 3:20. Yeah, that's 3:20 a.m. I was already hanging out in here because you can't see it from that side, but I got computer central going on all over the place over here because I've been trying to work on some stuff. I guess that's just some stupidity on my part. Anyway, so let's get moving. 6 minutes past the top of the hour. We'll get you rolling and bowling and all that kind of fun stuff. And we're going to get you moving to our friends at Feature Story News. If you're not familiar with how the show works, it goes like this. Feature Story News jumps in. They give you the professional side of the world, because I sure as shit will not do that. And then we come back and then we get to talk. We get to hang out. We get to do the do, you and I together. And then we go from there, and then we'll talk about other things that are going on inside of the world. We'll try to make some sense of the things that are going on inside of the world. We'll talk about safety. We'll piss some people off and go from there. You get to hang out and do some other things inside of the world of the social media if you want to do that. Or you can go into call-in radio. Call-in radio does our messaging, does our phone calling, does our video calling. So it's all interactive. If you want to be interactive, if you don't want to be interactive, just want to sit back, relax, and let's go from there, we can take that approach as well. Anyways, let's get to our friends at Feature Story News right away, because I think that this one's going to be a fantastic one. Listen to this first news story. It might be a shocker.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Benji Hire. US President Joe Biden is warning of a distinct possibility that Russia may invade Ukraine next month, as Moscow admits it sees little ground for optimism in resolving the crisis after Washington rejected its main demands in recent negotiations. Tens of thousands of Russian troops have amassed on Ukraine's borders in past weeks, although the Kremlin denies it's planning an attack. The UK's announced a further $130 million of emergency aid for Afghanistan. The country is suffering a humanitarian crisis following the Taliban's takeover last year. The extra money will help provide food, health support, water and sanitation facilities. Shelley Thakral is Afghanistan's World Food Programme spokesperson.
Every mother I speak to is worried to the bottom of their empty stomach about how are they going to find food, how are they going to cope. Many families are jobless. This has been an economic nightmare for people.
Meanwhile, back in Britain, the release of findings of an investigation into alleged breaches of COVID rules in number 10 Downing Street has been thrown into doubt after an intervention from police. The Metropolitan Police Force want there to be minimal reference to events they're looking into in Sue Gray's much-anticipated report. The senior civil servant has been leading a separate inquiry amid revelations of multiple parties held at the UK Prime Minister's residence during coronavirus lockdowns, when such social gatherings were strictly forbidden. Our UK correspondent Giles Gibson has more.
The Metropolitan Police says it wants to avoid any prejudice to its investigation, insisting it has not pushed for any delays to Sue Gray's report being released. The results of her weeks-long inquiry had been expected to be published this week, but on Tuesday, Met Police Commissioner Cressida Dick announced the force is investigating potential breaches of COVID-19 regulations at Downing Street plus government departments. When Sue Gray's report is finally published, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has pledged to make a statement to the House of Commons as he fights for his political future. Giles Gibson, London.
And Belgium's following the lead of many other EU states in loosening COVID-19 restrictions as several European nations recover from a peak of the Omicron variant. Here's our Europe correspondent, Rosie Burchard.
Belgium's move to further relax COVID-19 restrictions comes as hospitalisation numbers are on the increase. From Friday, bars and restaurants in the country can open till midnight. Fans can once again fill sports stadiums and casinos can reopen. A COVID-safe ticket, showing proof of vaccination, recovery or a negative test, is still required for entry to most indoor venues. Despite the relaxation, Belgium still remains in code red of its coronavirus barometer, which monitors the level of risk and infection in the country. Rosie Burchard, Brussels.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. There has been so much speculation about the nature and scope of Western sanctions that might follow a Russian invasion of Ukraine, and President Biden this week said some of the sanctions might target Vladimir Putin personally. Today, we hear from one man who says he knows how to do that. Anti-corruption campaigner Bill Browder, who was once Russia's largest foreign investor.
Vladimir Putin has a huge Achilles heel. Over the last 20 years, he's stolen an enormous amount of money, like $200 billion. And he doesn't keep that money in his own name. He keeps it in the name of oligarch trustees. And those oligarchs don't keep that money in Russia. They keep that money in the West. They keep that money in London, in New York, in France. And so the easy way out of this whole thing, and something that Vladimir Putin is more afraid of than anything else, is to sanction the top Russian oligarchs, 50 or so oligarchs who hold Putin's wealth. We have the tools, we can do it. And there's an expression, follow the money. We don't have to go to war with Russia. We don't have to, there needs to be no blood spilled. Go to the banks instead of sending in the tanks.
It's unclear whether the US is going to follow that advice, but Mr. Browder says the Global Magnitsky Act, passed by Congress and named after Sergei Magnitsky, who died in Russian custody after probing corruption, would allow the US to get the job done. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
A reminder for you of our top stories. US President Joe Biden is warning of a distinct possibility that Russia may invade Ukraine next month, as Moscow admits it sees little ground for optimism in resolving the crisis after Washington rejected its main demands in recent negotiations. The UK's announced a further $130 million of emergency aid for Afghanistan, and Belgium's following the lead of many other EU states in loosening COVID-19 restrictions. That's the latest feature story news. I'm Benji Haya in London.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, what are you wearing right now?
Nothing.
That's right. So mommy's going to teach you how to dress yourself. Underwear always comes first, name tag at the back, then pants, then shirt. Get the first button in the right hole or you have to start all over. Socks going first, then shoes, right on right, left on left. With shoelaces, just take the ends, cross them over, switch the loops, the rabbit goes down the hole, pull tight, and you're left with bunny ears. Got it? Why are your pants on your head?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable. But how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
How's it going? I'm having a stroke. Are you going to shake my hand? I'm having a stroke. Wow, you're not even moving your arm. I'm having a stroke.
When someone is having a stroke, they may not be able to say it with words, but their body language will tell you loud and clear. Look for FAST. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time to call 911 immediately. Know the sudden signs. Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you. Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
Okay, there you go. 17 minutes past the top of the hour. You and I are hanging out on this lovely Friday. Yes, lovely Friday. So let's get into it. Let's start talking about some of the things that are going on inside of the world of ours. The Surveillance Technology Oversight Project, also known as STOP, wants Apple to stop selling its AirTag products, which allows customers to keep track of things like keys and backpacks. STOP says that survivors and victims of stalking and abuse partners have been warning for months about the danger of tags present, and now those dangers are becoming a reality. So take a listen to this. According to Fox 5, New York points out that several recent stories that are being used several of these are being used for crimes. In Canada, police say that they have had AirTags used to track down cars to steal. In New Jersey, law enforcement officers have reported being tracked by criminals. For its part, Apple has a guide for people to check if they're being followed with the tag. STOP says that the only way to avoid the product not to be is for the product not to do what it does is for it to stop being sold. So just to be on the safe side, the Surveillance Technology Oversight Protection, or project in this particular case. So I don't know. I mean, it makes you kind of wonder a lot of things here, because you're going to start going, well, that's a little higgy in regards of what's going to happen. Because what do you think here now? All of a sudden you have this thing and you go, well, how's this going to work out? And then that's going to become the question. Because do you think Apple will just randomly stop selling it? I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens here over the next few weeks.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, attorneys for the suspect of November's Michigan school shooting intend to use insanity defense at the trial. Ethan Crumbley is accused of killing 4 students and wounding 7 other people. He faces 24 charges in total, and he will be charged as an adult. So this was after, if you remember, this was actually back in November when this occurred, and the question was coming about right away. Some rumors circulating, some bullying stuff that had actually went around, allegedly bullying stuff. Who knows? So it'll be interesting to see how this will actually go with the insanity portion of the whole thing, because the question is going to come about if he went insane momentary insanity. Where do you get the gun? That's going to be the first question. I mean, let's just be realistic with it. It is what it is. The question's going to come out is, where did he get the gun? And then after you ask that question, well, it's kind of all downhill from there. Because how long ago was the insanity portion before he actually moved forward with it? I mean, I don't think I'm being a jerk by saying that. I think I'm asking a legitimate question as it does come about. Just something to think about. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things going on inside of the world as we are hanging out right here. Amazon is getting behind the push to legalize weed at the national level. The tech giant says that decriminalizing would make it easier to recruit because of less strict drug testing requirements. Worth noting, Amazon would also have an enormous infrastructure to get in the dispensary and distribution business, if you really think about it. I mean, think about it all of a sudden, and let's just talk about it. And I know some people are probably not going to like me saying this, but if all of a sudden Amazon got behind this, the weed distribution business is something that they would actually jump into. Do you know that the infrastructure alone that they would have, they would beat almost every other dispensary available. Also, the other portion that will actually come into effect would make it pretty interesting, because here's where it's going to get interesting for depending on what you actually do. Are we talking legalizing it from a federal level? Or are we talking about legalizing it from a state level? So let's kind of play both here. State level, you're starting to see that from recreational use and also medicinal use, but they still have a federal guideline that has to be applied by in regards of what needs to happen. It's still considered a Category 1 drug, so it makes it a pretty more interesting thing, especially if you have something that you do, such as being a driver that has under DOT regulations, because it means, hey, that you can't really do it because you can't have the stuff inside of your system. But I guess you could say that that's no different than, to an extent, let's just make sure that we're clear, that you can't have alcohol in your system when you're going to go drive. I mean, that makes sense. But here's the guidelines you have to provide to. So all of a sudden, if it's not from a federal level, how would that work? That would be number one. And then number two, from a state level, would make it interesting because there's still some restriction there. But how would you look at this? All of a sudden being able to order from Amazon, of all places, your weed. I'm not saying you do weed. I'm not saying you don't. I'm just saying, think about it. Oh yeah, I'm waiting for my Amazon weed delivery. Boy, does that become an interesting subject of conversation.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so going through talking about some other stuff, Pizza Hut is rolling out something new here, something new. It's rolling out the Spicy Lovers Pizza in 3 different configurations. The pizza includes a spicy marinara sauce, red jalapeno peppers, and a special topping with crushed red chili peppers. Customers can also, let's see, get what? Okay, well that's pretty exciting. I'm glad we're sharing this over. I'm glad we're sharing this over here. Wow, I don't. Not even sure what just happened there, but hey, I guess that's pretty interesting. Okay, so good to know. So going back into that, customers can actually double the pepperoni version, chicken and pineapple, and veggies only version. This is a hot deal that will last for a limited time. Boy, did that really throw me off that all of a sudden the screen just randomly started talking to me. Apologize about that. Anyways, let's get some Johnny Smalls inside of here before we actually start talking about anything else, because he has some good stuff always going on inside of the world of finances. So let's see what he has to say this lovely morning.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Friday, January 28th, 2022. The slide continued on Wall Street Thursday with the major indices reversing early gains and posting losses for the day. The move was driven by better than expected GDP numbers early in the session, but fear of rising inflation capped the gains and caused late day selling. As good as the GDP figures were, they are rear-looking and ultimately underpin the need for aggressive FOMC rate hikes. The S&P finished the session near the lows of the day, and they're poised to move lower should the PCE price index come in hot today. Next week brings another round of earnings, the busiest of the reporting season so far, and the monthly read of the NFP data. The NFP should show another substantial increase in employment, a downtick in unemployment, and rising wages, which also points to the need for a rate hike from the FOMC. The market is still expecting a single hike in March, but there is a risk of 2 or more hikes with inflation running as hot as it is. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one, letting us know what exactly is going on inside of the world. I will tell you, I always love live radio because it's always fantastic when you have a total major screw up where my screen starts talking to me mid-process here, so that's always exciting. Anyways, let's talk about it. The Dow finished virtually flat, losing just about 6 points after an exciting morning rally that gained about 600 points. The S&P and the NASDAQ both had modest losses on Thursday, just in case if you wanted to know that information, because that's always importante stuff.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's start talking about some other things going on real quick. If you're looking for some things to do over the weekend, if you have nothing to do and you need some video on demand service stuff, I got some things for you. New to Amazon Prime will be Needle in a Time Stack. So there you go. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score of 36. New to Disney Plus will be the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild. It's not rated currently on Rotten Tomatoes, but I would tell you. New to HBO Max will be The Hangover Part 3. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score of 20%. And Reminiscent on HBO Max as well will be a score of 37%. What else do we got here? New to Hulu will Stop and Go. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a score of 76%. And then what else do we have? And then The Home Team will be new to Netflix. So there you go. It's just some things to do if you're on the lookout for some things over the weekend. If you are here in this glorious state that I get to reside in, at least in the central Florida area, they're talking that you might see lows as low as 29 degrees this weekend. I know, depending on where you're at, it's not that cold. But hey, for us here in Florida, well, that's a little roughy, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, so let's continue talking about some other things that are going on inside of the world. Keep in mind, if you want to interact with the show, you're more than welcome in doing so by going to callinradio.com. That is callinradio.com. That will get you directly into the groove and the move of the stuff that we have going on. So because this has actually been actually making the circuit, I figured we'll talk a lot about it a little bit more. Neil Young is thanking co-owners of his catalog for their support in his bid to have Spotify remove his music, acknowledging that it was a costly move a day after Young expressed his now deleted post on his website that no longer wanted his songs on the platform over the relationship of the divisive podcast host Joe Rogan, alleged misinformation regarding COVID-19 vaccination. The company agreed to honor his request. Upon hearing that news, Young expressed appreciation to the Hypnoxis, which owned part of the catalog, writing, losing 60% of the worldwide streaming income by leaving Spotify is a very big deal, a costly move, but worth it for our integrity and beliefs. So what do you think? 60% of the worldwide streaming platform is, so let's think about this. Out of all streaming platforms, they have the top. I was reading an article a few days ago that said that the closest one after them is Apple Music. And it said that they only had 15%. Yeah, 15% of the market. So it's interesting to see that he was able to make that move. And I'm still kind of lost. I'm going to be honest here. I'm still kind of lost on what he was trying to accomplish with this. Because, yes, I know that he's saying that he doesn't agree with what Joe Rogan says. Now, let's not sit here and say Joe Rogan's right, Joe Rogan's wrong. But you are aware that Spotify has a huge investment in the man. So did you think that they were going to pull down a person that they allegedly had paid close to nine figures to? I mean, let's just be realistic. I mean, I think that our timing is a little bit off when it comes to some of this stuff. Well, anyways, before I get too far away into this and we are kind of hanging around and doing our thing, As you know, on Fridays, we do not do any kind of main story. But I've been thinking about this, and I've been kind of shocked with the amount of people that have reached out to me about our little conversation from yesterday when it came up to talking about how things are advertised, how things are sold, how the marketing is done for this world of safety that we do. And it was interesting to me because I had a very dear and close friend to me actually make the reference that we should put that on the Jay Allen Show or the Safety FM Mini. And just the I guess just the part on when we're talking about what is going on and how it goes. So we have actually talked about that, and maybe that will probably be what we end up releasing, and just to see what others have to say about it. Because I think it's pretty interesting just in regards to what we were talking about yesterday, in regards of the marketing aspect of things, opposed to it just being straight up, the world of safety, the way that we think, the way that we allegedly know. I don't think we're always right when it comes to that stuff. I don't think we're always wrong, but I sure as shit don't always think that we're right. So maybe that's something to think about as well, opposed to it just being one of these things that we go, oh, okay, well, we can do whatever we want, however we want, and sometimes, not even give it a double consideration or a single consideration that we're going to move forward with something. I mean, something to think about for sure, opposed to it just being, oh, okay, I'm pretty sure that I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. I just sit here and you and I kind of go back and forth and we make determinations as we're moving. It's impossible to know. I mean, it's impossible to know from time to time what we need to be doing. I look at this, and as we go forward in our conversations, the only way that we're going to be able to determine what our safety needs are is by having conversations. And we can turn some of these things into, yes, this is what safety is based on this thought process, but also at the same time, that's exactly what it is. It's a thought process. Doesn't guarantee anything. Doesn't guarantee that things will end up working out the way that you want. Seriously. I know some people are not going to love that, and that's okay, because that's not the intention here. It's not for it to be love and full of plenty, that's for sure. Anyway, so that's just some thoughts for you, as you are aware, as we are hanging out on this lovely Friday, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and you know how it goes around here. We're always on the move, we're always on the groove, and we're always doing something new, for sure.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Do you have a claim and not sure where to turn? Coastal Claim Consultants are professionally licensed and bonded public insurance adjusters employed exclusively by you, the policyholder, to represent you after sustaining an insured loss. They assist policyholders in all aspects of processing the claim, working closely with the insured to provide the most equitable and timely settlement possible. They will provide you with comprehensive service, anything from inspecting the loss site, analyzing damages, compiling claim support data, reviewing applicable coverages, assessing replacement costs of damages, and negotiating your settlement. The adjusters at Coastal Claim Consultants will evaluate your claim for no upfront cost whatsoever. Coastal Claim Consultants' fee is based on contingency contracts and are paid when the insurance company sends you a check and it's in your possession. Coastal Claim Consultants are licensed to assist you in the following states: Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, Georgia, and South Carolina. For more information, go to coastal-cc.com. That's coastal-cc.com. For more information, lighting the way to recovery. Coastal Claim Consultants.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off.
You do so much to keep your child safe, but are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit 2min2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You know how sometimes in life you have those moments of shoulda, coulda, woulda, you know what I'm talking about. It happens all the time to people. So let's talk about that very sensitive subject of male pattern baldness. Don't go through that moment where you're going, I shoulda, coulda, woulda. Let's talk about my friends at Keeps. 2 out of 3 men experience some form of hair loss by the time they are 35. With more than 50 million men in the U.S. suffer from male pattern baldness. You don't have to be one of them. Think about this. There are only 2 FDA-approved medications that can prevent hair loss, and my friends at Keeps offer both. Keeps offers simple, stress-free way for you to keep your hair. Convenient virtual doctor's consultations and medication delivered straight to your door. I mean, I have to tell you, just for the whole sake of not having to leave your house to have the consultation, that should sell itself. But the low-cost treatments start just as low as $10 per month, and Keeps offers generic versions. Discreet packaging and proven results. Keeps has more 5-star reviews than any of its competitors. I want you to think about that. People love the product. Prevention is key. Treatment can take 4 to 6 months to see results, so act fast. All you have to do to take action to prevent hair loss is to go to keeps.com. That's KEEPS.com/safety. to receive your first month of treatment for free. That's keeps.com, KEEPS.com/safety to get your first month free. That's KEEPS.com/safety. Remember, not everybody has such a beautiful head as mine. So don't be saying coulda, shoulda, woulda. Act on Keeps right now.
Yeah, but is it cause you can't be faithful? But hope she's cool, unlike you. You ain't ready for a girlfriend, cause you think I'll steal your weekends, so you make up shitty reasons for want it out. See, I'm not even mad, boy, but I'm confused. Shouldn't you be keeping me at 10 when you're 2? I can't help but feel sympathetic, I do. You think you're bad, boy, but I feel bad for you. Think you're bad, boy, think you're bad, boy, think you're bad, but I feel bad for you. I'm not even mad, I'm not even mad, I'm not mad, I just feel bad for you. I was pretty when I met ya, now I'm prettier than ever, took a second to forget you, boy, only one. If you wanted to hurt me, well, you failed big time, cause I knew you would panic and run. I won't chase you, baby, I'm too good without. If you think that I'm crying, you're wrong. I'm not even mad, boy, but I'm confused. Shouldn't you be keeping me at 10 when you're 2? I can't help but feel sympathetic, I do. You think you're bad, boy, but I feel bad for you. Think you're bad, boy, think you're bad.
Oh, you think you're bad, boy. 39 minutes past the top of the hour.
I'm not
That's Vicky Fox with Bad For You. The song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. So there you go.
Bad boy, think you're bad boy, think you're bad, think you're bad, but I feel bad for you.
I'd like to thank Vicky Fox for allowing us to play this one, and I screwed that up. That was Vicky Vox, V-O-X, not Fox, F-O-X. Just in case if you think you're bad.
I'm not even mad, I'm not even mad, I'm not mad, I'm not mad, I just feel bad for you.
Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Vicky Fox, for that one. And let's get moving and grooving and talking and doing all that stuff. So for the record, let's talk about this. A marathon in Siberia may have broken the Guinness World Record when runners braved temperatures, are you ready for this, of 63.4 below zero. Organizers of the pole of the cold marathon in Yakutia, Russia, said that the start time of the race was pushed back to early morning on January 21st after the weather forecast indicated the temperatures would dip to below 76 degrees in the afternoon. Guinness's current list of world records coldest marathon as of 2001 is the Siberian Ice Marathon, where the temperatures were about 38 degrees below zero. Russian runners Vasily Lunkin won the pole of the cold marathon in 3 hours, 22 minutes. He is not looking for fame at all. He says that he has had enough exposure, if you get my drift. That's for sure. A group of British men broke a Guinness World Record by playing a board game for more than 85 hours. Lee Poole, Dale Poole, Adam Bitcher, and Luke DeWitt Vine, members of the Huddersfield board game group, played 79 rounds of board game Dune based on the Frank Herbert novel of the 2021 film of the same name for the total of 85 hours. The previous record was 80 hours, set by 4 men in the Netherlands back in 2017. The effort is to raise money for Alzheimer's in the UK. Mental health charity Headfire Mind each is also expected to be aware of an individual Guinness record for nerdiness, so don't worry about that. I would normally give you some other commentary on what I think about anybody playing a board game for 85 hours, but hey, that's maybe neither here nor there, and because of the cause that they're doing it for, well, I can't really say much. You know what I'm saying here.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, and by the way, if you're on the video aspect, of course, if you're on the radio, it doesn't matter. I always find it amazing that people lose it when I put my leg up and I am in shorts. I don't sit around hanging out in my underwear in a radio studio, but thanks for asking. I really always do appreciate the question. Just not something that is in the norm, but I appreciate that. Just that it would actually come about as a question, which is kind of creepy, but hey, that's another story. Anyways, news of the weird real quick. A Minnesota mom sparked quite a reaction on TikTok after revealing that she has been celebrating her son's birthday on the wrong day. Emily Vonderkrick went viral with her video. She tells that she recently brought her 3-year-old Henry to the pediatrician. Later, the receptionist called saying that the insurance company wouldn't cover the visit because the birth date that they had on file didn't match the one that Henry had that was on the doctor's file in the office. So she started digging up some information for Henry and his birth certificate. At the moment, she scrolled back in her Facebook and Snapchat posts, and she noticed that for the past 2 years, she and her family had shared photos from February 26th announcing that it was Henry's birthday. When she scrolled further back, she found out that he was born on February the 25th. Vonderchek said that this is most given the wrong date of birth because of the doctor's office, which is why he on record that he was born on the 26th and not the 25th. And a dad, he just shows up and eats whenever he was told to. So I guess that's something to think about. Now, I think it's funny because that's an interesting one that I will bring up. I do have a family member, an older family member at this point, that they were born on the 13th, but their birth certificate says they were born on the 24th. And I always find it interesting because I always wonder if they're going to try to pull out the double birthday thing. I've never known what they're going to do. I've always been curious if that would come about. Just something to think about. Anyways, an 85-year-old man from India is being investigated after claiming that he had received 11 COVID-19 vaccine doses in less than a year. Retired postman, I will not screw up his name, was stopped from getting what he claimed the 12th shot earlier this month, although it is unclear how the world of Mandalay's vaccination marathon reached the authorities. It is revealed that he boasted about the positive effects of it that it had on his health, repeated jabs, and someone tipped the police. Mandal claims that the COVID-19 vaccine has made him ailments, many of them considered normal at his age, disappear. And it's going to set the conspiracy theories back for about 2 years because of him doing so. So you know that people are probably losing it here, that this dude did this. 12 shots in that particular regards, going back and forth, saying, hey, my ailments are gone. I have a level of superpower that I didn't have before. I mean, it is no different than what people were considering Limitless, the pill. If you ever watched the movie, there was a pill that came out that people were like, oh, yes, there is a pill that does something similar, and I'm assuming that it does. And then what was the other one? Adderall was the other one, or was it Ritalin? I get them all mixed up anyways, where people get all super excited. Yeah, I know. Okay, I better do this now before I get in trouble.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Well, let's see. Another Olympics coming up. Another conversation of sexual activity needs to be had. So let's talk about it. Condoms will be available to the athletes next month at the Olympic Games in Beijing. But hugging is being discouraged. Organizers are keeping up with the traditions of making condoms available to the Olympians despite detailed social distancing guidelines at curbing the spread of COVID-19 within a closed loop in which the games will take place. An email from the Beijing officials say that all Olympic-related units, interesting choice of words, will provide appropriate quantities of condoms for free at the appropriate time to people who've checked in to stay in the loop. The games are set to take place between February the 4th through the 20th. Take the word of the games any day you'd like. So there you go. So hold on. So we are going to give you free condoms at when you think it is appropriate? That's an interesting one. So, too many questions I think that one kind of raises, and I think that was probably poor choices of words as well, because now all of a sudden you have to know when it's going to happen ahead of it happening. I don't know. I have too many questions and not enough answers in that segment. Anyways, 47 minutes past the top of the hour. You know how it is as we hang out here and do the things that we do. Let me give you 30 seconds and we'll do some drops into some motivation minute and all that kind of fun stuff.
Here is the news on the Radio R Safety Show.
London, I'm Benji Haya. US President Joe Biden is warning of a distinct possibility that Russia may invade Ukraine in next month, as Moscow admits it sees little ground for optimism in resolving the crisis after Washington rejected its main demands in recent negotiations. The UK's announced a further $130 million of emergency aid for Afghanistan, and Belgium's following the lead of many other EU states in loosening COVID-19 restrictions as several European nations recover from an Omicron variant peak.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Debbie. Simon Sinek said, "Happiness comes from what we do. Fulfillment comes from why we do it." I love Simon's quotes. They're usually pretty simple, yet quite profound. Think about this one. What we do is what makes us happy. We all know that to be true, but why we do it is the thing that fulfills us. If you're feeling less than fulfilled, think about what you're doing and why you're doing it. If you can make an adjustment to those things, it may change everything in your life to make you happy and fulfilled. Why not give it a try? I'm happy, and I would love for you to be happy too. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alessamorgan.com. There is a lot of evidence supporting how our mind has a major impact on our body. We are all familiar with placebo effect and nocebo effect, when our body reacts a certain way to something only because we were expecting this reaction to happen. When it comes to stress, a study published in Health Psychology confirmed that the impact of stress on your body is only determined by how you perceive that stress. Both good and bad stresses produce the same catecholamine response, same norepinephrine and epinephrine response, and the same adrenal response. The only difference in how it impacts your physiology is if you perceive it as good or a bad stress. Today, I invite you to reflect on your perceptions and self-perception, as this may have a much bigger impact than we sometimes realize. For additional resources, check out alessamorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go. 50 minutes past the top of the hour, and it's time to get into the swamp. So here we go. The President, Joe Biden, said Thursday that he will name his appointed to the Supreme Court before the end of February. He doubled down on his commitment to nominate the first black woman on the bench. Meanwhile, Senator Mitch McConnell said that Thursday that Biden should not outsource this important decision to the radical left, and that the American people deserve a nominee with demonstrated perseverance for written text and our laws and constitution. So it'll be interesting to see on what happens here over the next little bit. So that means we're going to have a whole month of fun. Aren't you excited about it? I sure should have as well. Anyways, remember the week-long outage last year when photo perpetrated that showed the Border Patrol agent whipping illegal immigrants trying to enter the country? Well, video showed that it was instead the agent who was on a horse was actually holding the reins. Now, Washington Examiner reports that after a 4-month investigation that a rep from the National Border Patrol tells that when this has been no new development whatsoever of what's going on. Worse, the results of the investigation will likely never be made public. So there you go. The Republican Governor Association has announced it's raised $75 million in 2021, a record haul. The Democratic counterpart was close behind, raising $73 million, also a record. Republicans have notoriously been behind Democrats in digital fundraising and outreach efforts, but the RGA said that it has tripled the number of online donations that they have received and the increased total online donation fivefold since 2020. So it's going to be some interesting midterms for sure as we are talking. Anyways, no winner for Tuesday night's Mega Million drawing. Tonight's drawing will be for $421 million, baby, or a $290.9 million cash payout. That's one hell of a studio you can build with that money. Anyways, no winner for Wednesday night's Powerball drawing. Sunday night's drawing will be for a $104 million jackpot or a $72.5 million cash payout. So I guess if you want to play the game, now is the time to do so. Anyways, let's get into this real quick before we get the hell out of here. Let me tell you real quick about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local community whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to afsp.org. That is afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. So there you go. If you're wanting to play the game, you're more than welcome to do so. So anyways, that's the thing. That's the thing there. I'm telling you, this game of life, yes, because that is what it is. This game of life is all important. If you are struggling with any kind of mental health or suicide thoughts, this is the time to talk about it. This is the time to reach out to people. There should not be that whole thing that people put this weird stigma on. This is such an important conversation that at no point should we ever not have this conversation. Seriously, it's a no holds barred thing for sure. Anyways, 54 minutes past the top of the hour. We still got some more stuff to cover, so don't vanish too far here because we got to cover it. We got to cover it. Anyways, at the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm, hanging out, doing some music and all that kind of fun stuff. Not me playing music, just in case. We'll be actually doing all kinds of interesting stuff, as we tend to do over there, if we're able to do so and pull that whole thing off. Really do appreciate it. Let's take a look. What do we got here? Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. So let's see. In 2020, President Donald Trump releases his Middle East peace plan alongside Israel Prime Minister. The plan outlined terms of the agreement to end the conflict between the Israelis and Palestinians and clear all claims made by both parties. Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, headed the team who authored the plan. That happened on this day back in 2020. Anyways, talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Ariel Winter turns 24. Maluma turns 28. Will Porter turns 29. Calcum Worthy turns 31. J. Cole, 37. Tom Harper, 37. Andre Iguodala turns 38. Elijah Wood turns 41. Wow, Elijah Wood turns 41. God. Nick Carter turns 42. And Ashley Purdy turns 43 today. Just in case you were looking at that. If you're looking for some reasons to celebrate today, I got some of those for you. National Gift of the Ladybug. National Blueberry Pancake Day, Data Privacy Day, National Have Fun at Work Day. Isn't that every day? I think I try to have as much fun as possible. National Kazoo Day and Big Wig National Day. What the hell's Big Wig National Day? Is it actually like you are a big wig or you actually have a big wig? I think that's a lot of interesting conversations you can have among both if you're really looking at it. I don't know. Anyways, let's continue talking real quick. Just before. I got tons of news to unload and not enough time to do so. Here's some whack facts for you just real quick. Just one in 3 consumers pays off his or her credit card bill every month. Maybe that should be you. Greenland hosts World Ice Golf Championship. Hazards include ice flows and frostbite. Las Vegas is not the largest gambling center in the world. Macau surpassed its gambling revenues in 2006. Ancient Greece and Roman statues were actually brilliantly colored and not bare marble or stone. In the Middle Ages, dead bodies were often used as ammunitions for catapults. There you go. Frogs cannot swallow without blinking. Well, I think I know some people that can't swallow without blinking now that that's brought up. That'd probably be a whole other conversation for a different day. Anyway, so let's give you some scoops of BS real quick. A study claims that senior citizens are the happiest of all generations. Well, you have to be happy too if you just got to eat dinner at 3, take a nap every day, and wear a diaper if you want. The Sundance Film Festival, a virtual event again this year, runs through Sunday. Robert Redford named the festival after his character Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Glad that he didn't play the other guy. I wouldn't go to the Butch Festival, or would I? I mean, I don't know. A report has found that thinking of death can make you a more successful person, not to be confused with hoping for death, which means that you are married. Scientists say that being in love makes you a less productive person unless you have a high sperm count. Did you hear that? Scientists say that being in love makes you a less productive person unless you have a high sperm count. Think about that. And did you know that violins' bows are commonly made from horsehair, which explains the long face every time one is played?
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Okay, so if you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What would be the most annoying thing about you as a roommate? Do I have some things to say? Random joke for today. Lead me into temptation. I can find the way myself. If you need something for the water cooler, try this. 7% of people say that they have done this in the bathroom. What is it? Drink a beer. Well, I'm glad it's just a beer you were drinking. That could have been a scary conversation. Anyways, you've been listening to the Rated R Safety Show exclusively on radiobig.fm and safetyfm.com. Safety FM is the home of real safety talk. We can't do what we do on both radio stations without you. The most important part, the listener. Anyways, if I can leave you with a thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Beauty endures only for as long as it can be seen. Goodness will remain so tomorrow. So keep that in mind. Anyways, I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Come out, hang out with me if you're more than welcome to do that. I would love to see you over at radiobig.fm. I know who you are. You know who I am. Love ya, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.